Okay, welcome everyone to the Leveraging AI series, webinar series brought to you by Stifel Venture Banking. And today we're going to be covering AI workflow automation. And we're going to be using Cloud Cowork mostly, but this could apply to other tools as well, because a lot of these uh, concepts and techniques are transferable. So Stifel Venture Banking sponsors this. They do like a lot of events for the ecosystem. I'm not gonna talk for them. Hopefully, Jonathan will join to talk about Stifel Venture Banking. If you're curious, bankwithstifel.com/venture banking is their website. I'm gonna drop it in the chat. They're serving both the founder side and the VC side. Okay, a little bit about me. I've been doing product and development and design for more than 20 years. That's my background. That's why like the conversation earlier with Eugene about customer discovery, testing, those kind of things. That's my wheelhouse. I've been coaching startup for 9+ years now, more than 200 startups coached. That's why I got involved in this. About 2 years ago, I saw that AI is getting big and it's here to stay. So I focus on enabling, so AI enablement and also consulting to help people still be on the driver's seat, but leveraging this to multiply productivity. From what I've seen, at the very least, we got 3x productivity increase. For example, in the conversation that we had earlier with, let's say, synthesizing research, right? When in the past, when reviewing and synthesizing interview transcript, it used to take hours and hours, most likely like at least 2 or 3 days. What we would do is we would read the transcript, code them with like post-its, and then lock ourselves in a room and then see the pattern and all these things. It's like hours and hours. Now it could be done in minutes by these different AI tools. That's how we can multiply the productivity. But the research question should be owned by the humans. We should direct the conversation. And then I've been teaching a lot of these workshops. Now this is almost like a year now that we've been doing this leveraging AI series. And if you guys have any particular topic you want me to cover in this whole AI thing, let me know. With that, oh yeah, those are just like name dropping some of the brands I've helped and I've worked with in the past. All right, why this matters now. So about now almost like 6 months ago, February, uh, Claude released Cowork plugins and also a new model that was more agentic, and the SaaS sector panicked. Almost $1 trillion wiped out that day because of the drop. Companies like Microsoft, Salesforce, LegalZoom, those companies, the SaaS companies, plummeted that thing. Why? We'll see why later. Now, in today's journey, 5 levels of AI automation. When we start this whole AI conversation, normally a lot of us start with asking AI to give us answers, right? Asking question, we get the answer. Asking question, we get the answer. And then slowly the answer becomes, oh, I can do this for you. You want me to do this because the AI is trying to be more helpful, AI assistant. This is why now SEO, search engine optimization, is being replaced by AEO, answer engine optimization, because that's the fancy term they're trying to use, these marketers, because people ask for answers, right? But that's not how we could leverage AI to get 3x or 10x even productivity increase. The way we can get there is by asking to do things like what Eugene mentioned earlier, get it to do this research and then do this and then do this and do this, right? So that's level 0. We get it to do things. So we're going to go through that today. And then we make it repeatable. And then we reuse that capability, and then we can reuse some of the pre-made capabilities that came from Anthropic and already done as packages, and then we can actually make it work while we sleep. So that's the level we're going to walk through. And we're going to use competitive intelligence as the example. Foundation, what is a workflow? Workflow, we all do this. We're all familiar with this. Essentially, it's just there's a trigger, an event, and then there's an action. Based on that trigger, we have an action that happens so that we can get the outcome, right? So we get an output that we deliver so we can get the outcome. For example, every Monday, so that's a trigger, event trigger. We do research the competitors, that's the action. And then we send the output, the email brief, so that the outcome is we feel that we're in the know. We know what's happening in the market right now with our competitors, right? A trigger could be also an email from client, right? Email from client, and then the action would be draft a response, and then the outcome is the client satisfied, right? So just as simple as that. Trigger, action, outcome. That's a workflow. Now we're going to talk about AI agent, the anatomy of AI agent. So in order for an AI agent to be able to do things for us, it needs obviously the brain, the LLM, which we are familiar with, like Cloud Opus 5 or Fable 5 or Mythos that's not released yet, or like GPT 5.6. That's the brain. Now, LLM is the LLMs are only able to take in text, and also the output can only be text. So in order for it to actually do things, it needs the tools, the hands, right? Or claws in some cases. And for the tools, a lot of times it needs to connect to the other systems. And this is called MCP in this world, Model Context Protocol. Don't worry about the terms. What it is essentially is just an ability for the LLM to connect to other systems to accomplish things. For example, if it wants to connect to, we want it to help us use Slack, right? To like see the messages from Slack, that on Slack from other people, from our team, and pay attention to that. So in order to do that, it needs to be able to retrieve messages, to view messages. And then from there, maybe we want it to post a ticket, to create a ticket based on the messages there, create tickets on Jira. So then we need another MCP to connect to Jira to actually create ticket. And then maybe another tool as part of the MCP to assign the ticket. Now, this is utilizing a lot of the APIs that have been around for a while, but the problem with APIs in the past is not necessarily a problem, but it's more cumbersome because for every single action, we need to connect to different endpoints. For example, for that Jira, to view a ticket, we need one endpoint. So we need to program that, we need to wire that. And then to post a ticket, another one. To delete the ticket, to add a ticket, one. Now with MCP, we could just connect once, and then the set of tools that the platform make available for your agent becomes available. So it's super seamless. Once you get it connected, one time, done. Now, another thing that the agent would need is the context, the knowledge base, right? So the brain only can rely on its own training data. And at some point when it's released to the public, it no longer acquire any information. So that's why we need to augment that with the knowledge base, our own data, our own information, so that it can have the context about our company, about the business that we do, about our protocol, procedure, SOPs, that kind of thing. And then also, because as part of the work, this AI agent needs to do multiple steps, it needs to have memory, or else it would do X and then after that it would forget, like, oh, what am I doing again? Then this will be frustrating, right? So that's why it needs memory to continue doing that. So with these four things, it could actually perform tasks for us. And then it would loop. It has the ability to also loop. Now, the looping ability is part of the harness itself. So a harness, this is the thing that a lot of people get confused when they say AI tools. They're talking about actually the harness, because now the tools have tools. For example, like I mentioned earlier, Claude could have the Jira tools, right? The Jira make a ticket tool or retrieve message tool for Slack. Now the Claude itself or like ChatGPT, they're called harnesses because it comes with like the prompt, the system prompt, the guardrails, and all these things. And that is what special that differentiates different harnesses. Why we would use, for example, Cursor versus Claude versus ChatGPT is because of the harness level, the tools that set of tools that are available there, and also the guardrails and the instruction. Okay, now we're gonna use competitive intelligence as example. So we're going to get the AI tools, in this case, Cloud Core, to research 3 competitors and then create positioning brief. This is the prompt. I'm going to drop it in the chat in case you want to follow along. Oh, it's too long. And I'm gonna go over it so that you can get a better idea of what's there. Hold on, it's too long. Hold on. It's a very long one. Okay, so from the top, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so you guys can see better. So we give it a role. So the reason why we do this is so that the LLM knows, okay, I need to focus on this part of my training data, right? As a competitive intelligence analyst. So I'm gonna focus on that, and because of that, then they follow different paths as they try to infer. So the role is this for digital marketing team, and then the task is research competitors and generate a positioning brief, which we talk about, helps our team on and then the context. We give it focus area, and then it says that if not provided, offer these to the user, right? So that way we can get a sense of, okay, this is the focus. And then the competitor, if the user doesn't have competitors in mind, ask this, right? And so on. And then this is important, the output format. If we didn't give them this, then it would just come up with whatever it thinks fits best, and it's not going to be standardized. So every time you do this, because it's a probabilistic machine, then it's going to come up with a different way to describe this to give you the output. With this, then it's going to give us the output that we actually could use that is expected, right? So in this one, we're asking it to give us a comparison matrix with this format, competitor, as these are the table headings, these are the values, and then individual competitor deep dive. For each competitor, cover these: overview, focus area analysis, positioning analysis, competitive, and then more of these, right? And then after that, synthesize it and create strategic recommendations. So this way, instead of just doing one thing at a time, instead of just finding the competitors first and then give us back the answer, and then we just like, okay, just do this one, boom, 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 give it to me. Okay, let's try this. I'm going to copy this whole thing and give it to Claude. See, because, okay, I'm going to move this aside so that I can show you side by side. Now, oh, okay. It's asking me to give it the focus area of interest, and this is here. You see that overall positioning, feature set comparison, UX design, blah, blah, blah. So That's the first thing because I didn't ask it, right? So I'm gonna say overall positioning. You have specific competitors in mind, help me identify them. Now, this is using, because I didn't give it the context of what industry that we're doing this. It's like, okay, so what are we comparing? What industry? It's giving me this example, AI enablement consulting, because it has memory of my past chats with it about my business. So I'm going to use this. And again, the competitors here, right? So it's asking me. And then now it's searching the web. So that's one of the pre-built tools that come with Claude. I think ChatGPT also has it. Perplexity for sure has it, and Gemini also has it. Is back in the day, you have to actually connect a web browser to actually do this. Now it comes with it. This is one of the most common ones. So based on search, I found candidate And then it's asking me, you want me to analyze all five or narrow it down? For the sake of time, I'm just gonna say pick top three. So that what just happened there is this: present 3 to 5 options with a brief reason why each is relevant, and then ask which ones to analyze, or all of them, right? So that's what it did. So it followed that. And then now it's proceeding with the analysis itself. So it's searching the web. I have enough to build the brief, executing and comparison matrix, right? So this is the comparison matrix. Individual competitor deep dives. And then now competitive gaps and opportunities. This is this part. And then it's going to create the strategic recommendations there. From here, potentially we could ask it to give us a roadmap or to-do list, or go deeper into one of this area to understand better. So that's level 0, right? Which is asking the AI to do something for us, to complete a task, multi-steps task with different tools. Now, let's say we want to do this every single week, right? We want to do this like regularly. How do we do this, right? So instead of doing this as a normal prompt, like what we did here, we could put this inside a project. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to projects, new project, competitive. This is what I talked about earlier with the context here is the knowledge base and the memory as part of this, the anatomy of the agent earlier. The memory is on by default. The context, if we have knowledge base, we can drop it in here, or we can connect it to Google Drive or these different tools, right? And the different tools are here, connectors. So different tools that I have available. For example, I could connect it to Figma, to Google Drive, Gmail. And to make this reusable, what I could do is I could put this in the instruction, or in some places, this is called system prompt. So I'm going to drop the entire prompt again. The same thing that we used earlier, and watch how, in this case, if I just say analyze, start, I didn't have to give it any prompt, really, just say start. It would start the same thing, right? Now I'm gonna say pricing, packaging, find them for me, and it's going to ask me about the industry again. I'm going to say again, AI enablement consulting. So going through the same process, but I didn't have to put in the prompt over and over, right? Then same thing, asking all 5 or 3, top 3. And then let's say I want to do another one. I could just say again, while this is running, let's say start, and it will start the same process again. This one gonna be, let's say, marketing messaging. Let me identify industry category, and this one, let's say, AI training for UX designers. And then it's going to identify the competitors again, and I could say, again, top 3. Now, this can happen simultaneously in parallel, so you can just keep like spawning these different agents and have them run boom, 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 instead of doing one at a time. So this one is done or is still working actually. Um, Pricing. So this one is about the pricing one. And we can change this AI consulting pricing. So we know what's that. And this is AI UX training. You can see how we could speed up our process this way, especially if we're doing the same thing over and over and we need to cover a massive ground, then this is what we can do to speed it up. Okay, so that is how we can make it repeatable by using project and the system instruction with the context. And then the next thing is, let's say, we want to reuse this capability. Let's say that instead of having it as competitive analysis as one task, we want it to be part of a bigger process, right? And for example, instead of just creating that, we wanted to turn it into a deck. So then we want to have an agent that uses the competitive insights, competitive intelligence skill to create the report and then create the report itself as a PowerPoint deck. So that's one way to do that. And in order to do that, then the scale, something like this, that can be used across the board. We don't want it to be limited to just being in this project. Because right now, if we wanted to use this somewhere else, we have to go to the instruction here, copy over this instruction, bring it to another project, right? What if another project we want to just use this? To do that, there is this thing called skills, right? So the skills, I'm going to show you on the Cloud Code, is here under customize. This is skills. Here we have the connectors, which is the tools, the MCP, and then we have the skills. Skills are essentially just a set of instruction that we could call from any project. You don't have to be in that project to be able to use it, right? So if let's say I have, where is this? Article style, web artifacts builder, the front end design skill. I'm just gonna open this. This is something that came with Anthropic. What it is, it just looks like this. It has the name, description, so the AI harness could recognize it. And the skill does this, the purpose of the skill. And then it has, this is an MD's file, a markdown file, and it describes this different thing. Before coding, understand the context, and then critical, do this, then do this. It's just an instruction, right? But the cool thing about this is that from anywhere, even from this project, I could call it front-end design, right? So essentially from here, let's say, I could say, turn create an HTML one-pager what for this using the design skill, target audience, executive. So it's loading the front-end design skill. Even though it's not part of this project, it knows it's part of the harness. So it could find it, look at the instruction, and could execute it. So this is how we could potentially have multiple skills and then have an agent that could use those different skills to complete a complex task. Okay, for the sake of time, while this is doing that, there's another layer of that, which is plugins. I'm going to show you that while this is working. We can check it here when it's done. Go back to customize. With skills, the most important one to add it is you can add here. You can write your own instructions. You can chat with Claude first and then have Claude turn it into a skill and install it for itself. And then also you could upload a skill. There are tons and thousands and thousands of skills out there. Or you can record your screen. So you could teach it by narrating, okay, this is how you do this, do this, do this, and then it would transcribe it and it would turn it into a skill. So it's very useful. So that's how you can use skills. And then there is this plugins. Plugins are essentially just sets of skills grouped by different functions. This is what actually caused that panic, the SaaS panic in February. Essentially, this could replace a sector. Like for example, for legal, all the SaaS platform for legal industry potentially could be replaced by this, which is scary. Now, under this, you could see the different skills and different connectors, right? So a plugin is a set of skills and connectors for a particular industry. You can turn it on and off easily, like this, right? You can add here the different Rust Anthropic sources, add from repository, and then it becomes available here. I have legal and design available. And when I'm negotiating with my client, like they use their, the army of lawyers, attorneys, then I could just use some of these to like be toe to toe with them. Same thing with design handoff, design critique. Very, very useful, right? And this is super powerful. Hey, Jonathan. Anyhow, so that's plugin. So again, so from single prompt, and then we can put it in the project, so we can reuse it, and then we can actually reuse that instruction from anywhere with skills. And now you can just turn on a set of skills, and you can combine these things. The skill can use the plugin, skill in the plugin, right? And then a project could also refer to like the skill from the plugin or from the skill that you created. Then the next level of that, work while you sleep.
One question.
Go for it.
Right. So in like the skills like under legal, so there are a variety of topics there already in there.
Yeah.
Like, if you're looking, you're negotiating an NDA with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you could, instead of asking Claude to reflect on the NDA, you could actually go into skills under legal and use that.
Correct. Here, like here, right? Triage incoming NDA, classify it as that. But read the description though, because it has a particular instruction to it, right? But for the most part, these are written in a way that's general enough to use, like for example, legal response, and then you can just give it the context. Review contract, right? Very powerful. And here is using the front end design skill earlier, it created this one HTML page for me to report the competitive analysis earlier. Right, so I could just call it from here without having to describe that. Okay, now the next thing is that we're going back to our project here. If we wanted to do this every Monday, very easy. We can just go here and we can do like weekly competitive intelligence AI UX, right? And then we can tell it run competitive intelligence for AI UX training with top 3 competitors. Decide for me. And then this is the approval process for something scheduled automatically. Approve is the most useful one. So what this is that whenever it's using a new tool, it would ask for approval. After the first run, normally it doesn't matter, but then auto would just skip it. And for something like this, it's safe because it's just going outside anyways. The model, you can choose the model you want to use, smarter one or like the cheaper one. I'm going to use like Sonnet 4.6 frequency manual. So this is where we can actually set the frequency. So I'm going to say run 3 a.m. on Mondays. So that is cheaper on the token cost of peak hours. Save it. And then we can, so it's right here. Then I can test the run and watch it. Just normally after you set a scheduled test, you want to test it at least once to make sure that all the permissions are given and also that it can complete the things and give you what you want. The next thing from here, obviously the output could be emailed to me or could be sent via Telegram or things like that, depending on the way you want to receive it. So it's using memory, it's working on this. While this is working, any other questions? Okay, gonna continue just a little bit more. We're almost there. So for your own workflow to get this started, right? What to automate first? If you have started doing this, 3 different things to consider. How often? If you do this only once a year or once in a blue moon, then there's no point automating that workflow. Is it clear? What do you know what done look like? Like if it's unclear, for example, some kind of research has unclear definition of done, then maybe that's not something to automate. And if it's clear, for example, like this competitive research, I know the output should look like this, that's done, then this could be automated. And this is very important, recoverable. What if the AI make a mistake, right? So one of the things that people do is to check email. Make sure that it doesn't delete, because if it deletes your inbox and it's not recoverable, you're screwed. So if it's all yes, then it's a good candidate to automate. And this is something that you can also just ask Claude or these AI tools to help you choose, right? The biggest one is obviously this one, the recoverable. What is the risk of getting it wrong? If let's say it's a client-facing thing and if you send it to them and because of that, then you lose credibility, then that's probably not a good thing. But if you're doing your own preparation for, let's say, a call, you're the one who consumes it, then that's fine, right? So pick one, start with level 0, and then don't just skip to like the last one. Start with the 0 one, build it up that way, the way we did it. And that's it. And with that, while we have Jonathan, Jonathan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you talk about Stifel Venture Banking a little bit?
Yes, of course. Sorry, I can't appear on a video. I'm actually on my way to like the forest. This is our like annual retreat or whatever for the company. Um, yeah, I actually don't know where. I think it's where I'm in. It's north San Francisco. Um, yeah. Look, so I see Eugene there. Good to see you again.
Hi.
Hey. Look, Stifel is one of the largest banks in the United States. Okay, we have $500 billion on deposit, founded in 1890, based in St. Louis, Missouri. We have definitely a maybe more famous kind of investment bank. You probably may have heard of them. We also have one of the nation's largest wealth management groups. But I work in the New York office for our venture banking group. So we are the bank for the venture ecosystem. We bank startups and we bank the funds that invest in them, generally at the early stages. So seed stage, Series A, Series B, this kind of thing. I think in terms of, if you're a founder or thinking about being a founder, we provide the entire suite of banking sort of services. Some of that's, probably what you know. We open checking accounts, we pay yield on deposits, we provide credit cards, we do treasury management, we do wire transfers, this kind of thing. We also provide venture debt. So if you're a company that has raised really any amount of money from an institutional fund of some sort, yeah, I mean, we have an entire team of credit analysts based in New York. We have people, a large office in San Francisco, uh, people in Boston, people in Atlanta, North Carolina, Los Angeles, et cetera, several other locations. All they do all day is review companies for, kind of checking the opportunity for potentially providing them extra capital in the form of venture debt. So it's non-dilutive, extra runway. There's, good arguments for taking venture debt. Not every company is suitable, but it is definitely something that, we will certainly look at with you. And then in terms of if you're a VC or investor, we also bank funds. So we provide funds with capital call lines. These are credit products for investors who need to call capital before investing. We do a few other things for VC funds as well, along with, of course, depository banking as well. And then the third big thing we do is events. So we hold lots of events in ecosystem. We're always meeting with VCs. We talk to them every single day. It is difficult to find a VC in the US that, Stifel doesn't know. Um, we hold a lot of kind of founder funder type events. They're often in person type things, so dinners, social events, founder funder lunches, breakfasts, things like this. We'll hold those in different regions. So depending on where you are, you can check our Luma. You can also contact me. Not all of our events are like fully public, but if you're interested in coming, just let me know, and I can kind of help you out. Um, I think another thing we do, of course, are these webinars. So Danny's been doing this with us for quite a while now, um, and workshops as well. Those are in person in New York City, and Danny can tell you a little bit more about that. But yeah, otherwise, look, I'm always happy to talk to everyone about, their company, their fund, what's going on in the market. I was an investor for 7 years, early stage, mostly focused in deep tech. So yeah, but otherwise, thanks, Danny.
Sure thing. Yeah, I just dropped Jonathan's email in the chat, moj@stifelbank.com. In case you need to contact Jonathan, you could also reach out to him or me on Luma. And with that, I just want to close by showing the thing that it just delivered. So while we're talking, it delivered this. And it also sent me a notification on my phone mobile app saying that this is done. So come Monday morning, next Monday, 3 a.m., when it's done, when I wake up in the morning, I'll get the notification on my phone saying that this is done. So that's how you could get this done while you sleep. Okay, with that, hopefully see you guys again next time. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Is there do you any way to get the recording for this?
This one I can post it on the Luma, so you can get it.
Okay, no, appreciate that. I
Sure
like
thing.
review it.
Cool. All right.
Great.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have